He's just a murder hobo. Min-maxing on his sheet. She's just a murder hobo. Munchkin in the streets. A game of political intrigue. Hey everybody, this is Carl again with Eric.
Hello.
And this is Tabletop Tango. And this is, I'm going to say it's going to be a little crazy of an episode a little bit. I was invited to, last episode we talked about creating a character in Pathfinder, and that was a lot of fun, and I have my Sorcerer defined. And then Eric says to me, hey, do you want to play in a game, like, tomorrow? And I said, sure. He goes, well, we need to level your character up to 5th level. I said, all right. And that's when I, had that dumbfounded look on my face, and we figured we'd get it on audio and get it on video and talk through it, and maybe learn something about it and learn a little bit of the basics and go from there. So what do you think about that, Eric?
Yeah, I think it's great. It's going to be organic.
Organic.
Which means that, it'll be very haphazard, but I think we'll get it done. This will be just, this is me leveling you up for an actual game. So
yeah,
it should feel very natural. Be
very natural, and everybody will see just how little I know about Pathfinder. So, all right. But that's what it is. It's Carl learns Pathfinder. So if I knew it already, it wouldn't be that. So,
yep.
All right. So we had our first level character.
Yeah.
And so I can go to the page and show that in.
Yeah. Why don't you and just talk a little bit about what your kind of basic concept is?
Well, my original character concept was a sorcerer who is a half-elf who kind of came to it a little bit later in life, was originally kind of had an artistic bent, and so, that was kind of where they came from, and then sort of got gifted, and I don't know what the spirit, it was like a water spirit, right? Something like that.
It's something in your bloodline, so whatever you'll have to come up with a reason why you had maybe an encounter with a powerful water elemental, and that kind of brought forth this inner power that you've had your whole life, just didn't realize.
Right. So but it's kind of aligned with the water area, and so that's kind of where we started. And
as an elemental sorcerer,
elemental
I guess, to be as
sorcerer,
clear as possible.
Yeah. So good. So that's kind of where we started. We had the character basically defined. I've got the character sheet up on my side, so if you move around that sheet, they should be able to see it because it's Roll20. No, go ahead. Actually drive it.
Okay. We'll both be. I just wanted to look at your spells real quickly, but yeah, we kind of filled it out. We got your rest of your spells, which we didn't get last time. So this is the level 1 character, and we need to level you up to 5. Which is a cool level to be at. And you'll see why.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens, it looks like, in a little bit I read.
Here.
So.
Okay, so let's just get right into it, I think. And anybody at home, either using the core book or using Archives of Nethys, you can kind of follow along. And we're just going to skip right to level 2. So when you level up in this, it's always by your class. You always refer to your class, the class feature, the class page, even if you multi-class, because we'll actually get into that a little bit of what that means in this compared to, say, 5e. But level 2, and now for you, Carl, every level you'll get new spell slots, and then new spells, and then every other level you'll get to a new spell level, which basically will give you access to higher level spells,
right? And
your cantrips will automatically heighten themselves. So your cantrips kind of just automatically get better and better, which more damage. It's mostly the damage cantrips, but other ones will get some bonuses too. Every other level.
Awesome.
Yeah. So level 2, you also get a skill feat and a sorcerer feat.
Right. So to go to level 2. If you go look in the book, it gives you a list of the things that happen at the level. And so for second level and then every even level after that, you get a skill feat
and a class
feat.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And that's pretty much that stays the same. Most of the even levels, you just get those. As for you, obviously, as well as spell slots. 10 is we don't have to get into it much, but there's a couple of there's only like 2 other levels where you get actually anything extra. Most of the other stuff that you get is always on your odd levels. But yeah, so let's talk about skill feats. Now we broke that down a little bit in the other video. Remember, you got a skill feat, but it came along with your background. Now you get to actually choose what skill feat you want. And do you remember what a skill feat does? Kind of what they are generally?
A little bit, but it's always good to kind of remind. That's my way of saying, no, I don't remember, and I'm acting like I do.
Got it. So we talked a little bit before about class feats and about ancestor feats, and there's general feats. There's also skill feats. Now, skill feats are basically a skill feat it's not as powerful as, say, like a class feat, but they're all specific to a skill. They kind of make one of the skills that you're using better. They all kind of enhance a skill in a way. So just think of a skill feat as like tweaking a skill that you can do. So, besides like raising your skills, which we'll talk about when you get to level 3, you have skill feats which help you kind of in those areas.
Right.
So what are the skills? I mean, you already have a crafting skill feat, right? Like what's a skill that you want to just kind of be better at?
Well, I wanted to lean into deception.
Awesome.
Because that's going to play into a little bit of that, what this character is, as we talk a little bit more. And so I was looking at the skill feats related to deception, and there's things like charming liar, lie to me. So I like this. Lie to me is use deception to detect lies. I was digging that a little bit. I don't know what you're thinking about that.
I that's actually a really good skill feat. So because your perception's low, sorcerers don't get really bonuses to it. They get kind of expert way later, and you have only a 10 wisdom, so you're not going to be that good at perception. So this one, where normally you would use perception, this is it. You actually, if somebody's trying to lie to you, they're going to go against your deception DC, not your perception DC.
Right.
So that'll actually be really good to you. If you want to be kind of more of a face character and you want to you're good at like lying to people, and then you're also good at when other people are lying, this is definitely something you'd want to take.
And that's what I was thinking. So
let's go with it.
All right.
So
done deal. All right.
Let's add it to your thing. I'm gonna just quickly do it. So we're gonna go to your feat section here. Under the skill feats, we're gonna go lie to me, and I'm gonna call it a skill feat. It was at 2nd level, and what does it do? Well, it uses your deception DC if it's higher than your perception DC when somebody's trying to lie to you in a conversation. There we go. Ba-bam, boom. Cool. Now for this you would kind of need a back and forth dialogue, but I think that's what you're hoping for, is that when people are talking to you, you can detect lies. Cool. Well, that was easy, wasn't it?
That one was easy.
Skill feats are definitely kind of the easiest ones. Now we're getting to the meat of it. Class feats.
And we were talking about this earlier, and so this is a little more. What did you say? The class feats for the sorcerer at this level aren't that interesting.
I mean, you already took dangerous sorcery with your ancestry feat, which is a big one for you because you're an elemental sorcerer. That's going to make your damaging spells great. I personally think that the lower level sorcerer feats aren't that great. There's still some cool ones in here, like familiars. There's some meta magic options. But as far as 2nd and 1st level feats, there just really isn't that really good ones for you. So, again, when you have a class feat, you can take one of your class feats, or you always have the option to take an archetype.
Right. And
I think that's what you were interested in, right?
And I was interested in going with the archetype. And those allow... Would you call that more kind of... It's kind of like multi-classing in a sense? A little bit different than
yes
that?
And no.
Yeah.
Yes and no. So the archetype system, we're not going to get super into it right now in this video, but I will give a quick explanation of it. Archetypes are basically a way to kind of tweak your character concept a little bit more. You're always going to be a sorcerer, right? But an archetype allows you to kind of go outside what the normal bounds of a sorcerer would do and kind of do a bunch of interesting other stuff with your class feats.
Right.
Now, every archetype, the initial one, it's called a dedication. that is going to use a class feat, and anytime, most of the time, that kind of, sorry, let me back up a second. That kind of unlocks that archetype for you. Now, most of the other options are still going to be ones that you have to take in lieu of a class feat, but they also will unlock skill feats sometimes too. So sometimes archetypes will give you kind of unique skill feats. Now, there's basically two types of archetypes. There's multi-class archetypes, and then there's kind of other archetypes, which are just a wide umbrella of like, there's ones that are like, faction specific, so that are related to the Pathfinder Society or to Last Wall. There's ones that are related to specific professions, like being an acrobat or an animal trainer or a gladiator or something. There's kind of like weird ones, like being a familiar master or a poisoner, a ritualist. So there's just like huge variety here. They're very, very, they're a great system, and I think we're just going to focus on the multi-class archetypes.
Right.
So this is how you multi-class. If you guys were interested in all about multi-classing, it's all about archetypes. So we did talk a little bit about this before.
Yes.
And I think you were leaning on what multi-class?
I was leaning into, kind of the play with that deception, to play with that sort of roguish way of doing things. So I was looking at a rogue.
Cool. So rogues are probably one of the best multi-class archetypes there is, just for that first one. It just gives you so much. So let's actually take a look at it. I don't know if you can bring that up, but so basically we're going to say in your little feet here. So let's look at what that gives you. So the rogue dedication, they all have prerequisites. So you need a prerequisite of a dexterity of 14, which luckily you have. Let's just make sure. Yep, you have that.
That would have been a lot of talk for nothing. Otherwise,
well, I'll talk for nothing. So basically, you're going to gain a skill feat. You're also going to gain the Rogue's Surprise Attack class feature. You'll become trained in light armor. In addition, you became trained in stealth or thievery, plus one skill of your choice. If you're already trained in one of those, you get another one, basically. And then you get trained in additional skill, and you also get trained in Rogue class DC. So that's all the stuff that you kind of get just for that one feat, and then it's going to unlock a lot of other features. Normally with multi-class ones, you get access to their class feats, so like rogue class feats, but like at a higher level. So while rogue might be able to take, like, say, rogue takes a class 4 feat at level 4, you would only be able to take that at level 8. So it's kind of like half the levels you can take those class feats. So you'll always be a sorcerer. You're just kind of like dabbling in rogue.
Right.
You can also pick up stuff like sneak attack, like a lesser sneak attack, or you can pick up stuff like you can get yourself better at skills, like more skills stuff. So that's kind of what the options give you. So let's plug this in right now. I'm going to add it into your sheet.
Okay, I got the sheet up.
Cool. So we're going to add in rogue dedication, and it gives you all of that stuff. And let's give you the stuff now. So now you get a skill feat and a rogue's surprise feat. Now the rogue's surprise attack feat is kind of cool. What that will give you, and I'll add this in right now because now this is a class feature that rogues get. And I'm just finding it to copy it over. Okay, I got it. Surprise attack. So basically, whenever you use deception or stealth for initiative, anything that hasn't acted yet are flat-footed to you. So this is going to be in the basics video, but basically with initiative in this game, it always kind of defaults to using perception, right? Which you're not that good at.
Nope.
It's always going to kind of default to doing perception. But and this is something that I love about this system, that I think is just such a cool system, is that if you are, say, sneaking around when combat happens, you can use stealth. If it was like, say, a conversation that you were lying in, like, oh yeah, we're just, a couple of whatever, and then you like stab somebody or somebody else did, you could use deception. Now, you can pretty much use any skill as long as you can kind of work it out with the GM, but stealth is one of those that is just like, you can pretty much always do because you can always be sneaking, right?
Right.
So this is actually really good for you. This allows you to use these skills, which you are just way better at, right, than perception. So this is actually another cool thing for you. So let's add that in. This is going to be called surprise attack. And blah. Cool. So you got surprise attack. Now you get another skill feat. So let's go back to the skill feats.
All right, skill feats. All right.
You can continue. You can make, if there's any other deception ones that you liked. We can go to crafting. There's intimidation. You did pick up society. I know that was kind of one. If you wanted to kind of be better at that.
All right, so that's kind of cool.
Like some of the ones that are cool for society.
I like that sign language and read lips are seem kind of cool, but
now read lips is going to be using your perception, I believe.
Does it?
Oh no, you can do it automatically when people can see you.
Read lips of people you can see. And then there's streetwise.
Yeah. So normally, now you do get 2 extra skills right now too. So, you can use, if you wanted to, if you're thinking about like leveling up now, if you're thinking about making society one of your main skills, right? For kind of this, your lower levels, you're only going to have pretty much 2 skills that you can keep like increasing to be more and more powerful. All of your train skills will still be good, but there'll only be kind of 2 skills that you can kind of increase the proficiency in, getting bonuses to it.
Right. Sure.
So I know that deception is one. If you wanted to get more into crafting, you kind of have to, because right now your crafting is like you can kind of fix things.
Right.
You can create art, but you don't really have anything like, you can't really do anything magical. You can't do alchemical stuff. But I don't think you were that interested in that stuff anyways.
No, not really.
Right?
No.
Okay. So, I mean, maybe society for you want society to be, one of your main skills, or maybe it's nature, like because you're primal. So it kind of, you have a lot of options here.
Well, let's, for the sake of this exercise, let's go with society.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Yeah. I like that idea.
So which one of those kind of...
Well, for some reason, I'm kind of leaning towards being able to read lips, just because it feels like that's something I could leverage to then use with deception in a later conversation, based on being able to see what people are saying, kind of that they don't know that I can tell what they're saying.
Yeah, that's cool. And you do know some languages, but you might want to learn some more. But cool. So I put read lips in, and we're gonna say that's skill. Okay. So you got read lips. Now let's go to you get thievery at trained.
Yep.
And now you get 1 extra skill, any skill that you want.
Any skill that I want.
I mean, there's always diplomacy. I mean, you know a lot of skills.
Well, I remember when we were first making the character, it was kind of like, what happened? It was like I was going down the deception route, and you're going, well, what about if you are trying to talk to somebody and you're not necessarily trying to deceive them? That comes then into the diplomacy realm, right?
Yes.
Okay. That seems like a really good direction to go if I'm going to, try to be more than just roguish imp. So
yeah, now you have deception, diplomacy, and intimidation. You have the main 3.
I got the trifecta. So yep.
Now, one of the cool things you can do with intimidation, I just want to throw it out there for you, is it's actually a really cool skill to use both in and out of combat, and you can actually make people afraid in combat with intimidation. But that would be something you'd want to be developing into. So taking skill feats for, but it's very powerful. Frightened is like a very good. It's basically when you make somebody frightened, it lowers everything, including their armor.
Excellent. Yeah.
So it'd always be kind of having, but so to have that, you kind of would have to start developing some skill feats into and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't think you wanted to go that route though, right?
That had not
Just have
been
it
my
for
original
basic.
plan. No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. So.
You also get trained in light armor, which will make you a little bit tankier. Right now, I'm just gonna put light as trained, and then later on when you'll get light armor, so you'll be your AC will be higher than this. And you know what? Let's just put it in right now. Let's just at least put in. You have a 1, and the cap is 3. There you go. So your AC is a good 16, and we're actually going to put the level at 2, and you'll see everything kind of goes up. So you see now like all of your AC went up, all of your saving throws went up by 1, all your skills that you were trained in went up by 1. Because remember, whenever you're proficient in something, it's always your level plus the your proficiency level plus your attribute. So whenever you level up, all those things that you would just become trained in are just going to get better and better.
Right. Okay.
If that makes sense. And I think that was all the rogue dedication gave you, right? Yeah. And then rogue class DC, which we don't even have to worry about.
Right. Okay.
Cool. There you go. Level 2.
Level 2.
Down.
Completed.
I
Excellent.
feel good about that.
I'm feeling pretty good about
and then,
that too.
Spell.
Oh.
You did have another spell. I don't know if you want to do those in the end or do those as we go.
Well, let's do those at the end. Because we'll have at the end a batch to go through, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so level 3, you get second level spells. Very exciting. General feats, signature spells, and skill increase. Okay, cool. So we'll save all the spell stuff for the end. So we'll just focus on now. You get a general feat and you get a skill increase. Now, general feats are kind of a weird thing. Their general feats are their own thing. They're kind of like not related to any specific skill, but they're pretty strong. But also, Carl, with a general feat, you can actually take a skill feat as well in place of one of the general feats. So
okay. So you can replace a general feat with a skill feat. Okay.
Yes, because the skill feats are all also general feats. But some of the stuff that general feats can give you, they can give you like make you a little bit faster. They can give you like better initiative. They can give you more tough. They can make you a little bit tougher. You can also do one where you can take another ancestry feat, like if there was one of those level 1 ancestry feats you didn't want.
So when I had
those are all kind of good options.
So when I had looked at this before, and you had made a note that what's used to do your initiative is perception, right?
Yes.
And I'm not great at that. So when I originally looked at this, I was going, well, maybe incredible initiative would be a good place to maybe invest. Maybe that +2 is worth something to me. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
+2 is good. Incredible initiative is always a good feat to take, like 100%. And with your rogue one now, remember, you're going to always want to be like sneaking or lying, basically, to use those in place too.
Right. But you can't always do that, right? So
you cannot always do that, no. So incredible initiative will kind of help you. That's an easy one to take. +2 is always going to be good for initiative.
Yep. So that's where I was going to go.
Nice.
Start with something useful, for sure.
Yeah, and that's so general feat, and we'll say incredible initiative. Excuse me if I'm spelling things wrong. And I'm just going to say +2 to init. And then one of the cool things we can do, now this is using the Roll20 sheet here, is that I'm going to go to this perception here and open it up, and then you get initiative modifier of 2. So whenever you roll it, it will just automatically add in. Cool. So there you go. Oh, I forgot to add your low light in. So right now. Low light. Now, as we're leaving the spells for the end, another thing that you do now is that you can now raise a skill to expert or take another skill if you want. But I would say definitely you want to raise a skill to expert. And what that gives you is that it'll give you another +2 on a certain skill. It'll also unlock, like, you have to, some of the skill feats later on, you need like expert or master in them.
Right.
So what's like right now? What's one of the skills that you just want to focus in on?
I'm still leaning into deception or one of the trifecta.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's just do deception because you want to do it. So we'll put it expert. And now that you see your deception is at a mighty +10.
Yep. Yep.
Actually, with your level 3 now, I have to change that. It's actually at a plus 11 because it goes up every time.
This is a really nice sheet that they have in Roll20. They did a nice job on
Yeah.
it. So.
Cool. And you notice all your hit points are going up because when you I forgot to. This is not something that because it's all automated, but in this you don't roll for HP. You start with your ancestry, which is 8, and then you just get 6 hit points every time you level up, which is low, but it's fine.
It's fine for me.
It's fine.
I'm not a tank, so.
You're not a tank, but your AC is not bad. I mean, with your getting light armor now. Cool. So let's just move right ahead again because we're leaving spells for the end.
Awesome.
To level 4. You get a skill feat and a sorcery feat. So skill feat. Let's do that.
Okay. Now I got to go find those again. So skill feats.
You mean probably a deception, right?
So now that I have expert in deception, I can start looking at things like quick disguise or something along those lines.
Confabulator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, the confabulator will let you kind of, if you're lying more than once and the people are seeing it, or creating a diversion, which is a really cool thing to do with deception. It gives you like a bonus to that. Lengthy diversion is really good, which allows you to remain hit if you were kind of sneaking and making a diversion. Charming liar is cool. It actually enables you to, when you critically succeed when you're lying, it actually gives you it actually like improves their attitude towards you by a step. So it's kind of like a rider when you lie really well.
And I guess that'd be a useful one. So I gotta decide. I don't want to waste too much time on air here. So let's go with charming liar. We're really leaning into the deception part of it. So.
And that's what these skill feats really allow you to do, right? Like you can see how they really just allow you to kind of be better at specific skills. So let's go to feats, and we'll put in charming liar. And that's going to be your level 4 skill feat. Bing, bang, boom. There you go. And now class feat. We talked a little bit about this before. We don't really want to do any sorcerer feats. We want to do another rogue one, right?
Yes.
And one of what the multi-class archetypes give you is that they enable you to then take rogue class feats. Now, at level 1, you have the option... at level 4, you can pretty much take... with one of your class feats. Now this is, let me actually get the name of what this is called, just for, and now all of the multi-class archetypes have this, and this is called Rogue One is called Basic Trickery, but they all have like something like this, and it enables you to gain a first or second level Rogue feat. So if we take a quick look in the Rogue feats, if you're looking at 1 or 2, there's kind of, some of these are for like, traps. Some of these are kind of for like tumbling. But I think you really wanted to make yourself a little bit more, maybe harder to hit or a little bit more mobile, right?
Yes.
Some of the cool ones with that, there's nimble dodge, which basically whenever somebody targets you, you can use, because you have no use for your reaction right now. You can kind of use your reaction to get a +2 on your AC. So it'll, it might save you from getting hit. It might save you from getting a crit, which is kind of the big thing with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's what you were kind of looking at, right?
Yep, that's what I was leaning towards.
All right, let's just put it in. So you're getting the rogue feat nimble dodge.
Nimble dodge.
So I'll add this in. And trigger, we're not going to do too much stuff. Targeted by attack. And it's a reaction. And bam. Cool. And now, yeah, again, you'll understand later about the way the crit system works, why this is actually really good.
Okay.
And there you go.
Swell.
That was 4th level. Again, because we're not doing spells.
Well, spells are coming. Yeah, sure.
They're coming. Cool. Let's move right on to 5th level.
All right.
And I think by doing it to 5th level, it actually is cool because it will be kind of everything that you would need for most of the levels anyways. We'll pretty much cover everything.
Right, because this is one of those watershed levels, right? So.
Yeah. And this is kind of like you kind of are dealing with everything that you kind of get. So 5th level, you get 3rd level spells. Again, not doing it now. Now you get your first ability boosts.
Ability boost, yep.
Now these work just like when you got your free ability boosts when you were making your character. So basically right now, Carl, you have 4 ability boosts. And how those work is that if any of the scores are under 18, you get a +2 to them. If any of them are at 18 or above, you only get a +1.
Right.
So what are the 4 attribute abilities you want to pump up?
Well, I still feel like I should continue to pump up charisma a little bit.
Absolutely, you should. That's your main thing. You'd be insane not to. So that's only going to go up to a 19. Even though it's not going to benefit you right now, right, at all, because a 19's an odd level. So if you were really like min-maxing it right now because you're only playing a 5th level character, you probably wouldn't take it, I guess. But we're doing this like you're leveling up your character in a campaign, right?
Right. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Even though this is going to be used for kind of a one-shot, it's still, I'd like to think of it as if it was a character I'd be using and going forward. So.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah.
So, what's perception linked to again?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. So I was thinking that wisdom might be a good place to bump up a little.
That's an excellent idea. Let's put a 2 in that. So now it's going to make your will save better too.
Nice.
Now Dex might be a good one just to get more AC.
Yep.
Now and a little bit better acrobatics. So we'll pop that in there. Make that a 16. And then for your final one, I guess there's int, there's con, strength. But maybe con seems like a good one.
Yeah. I think Constitution would be where I want to leverage.
Then you'll get more HP, and it'll make your fortitude saves better. So you're definitely a little bit more tankier now. Cool. That was easy. So you can see that I put 2 in for all the ones that were under 18, and your charisma's at a 19.
Yeah. So +1 because I was at 18. Right. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
You get an ancestry feat now. So this is a fun one.
All right.
Which, remember, you get to use human, elf, and half-elf options.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'm going to have analysis paralysis on this one. So
you might have analysis paralysis from this.
Okay. And those are listed.
I mean, so human ones have kind of a cool. If you want to make it easy, one of the things like for that we did, before we did the human one, natural ambition, which gave you another class feat. Now they do have an extra feat where you can take another general feat. If you wanted to just get another general feat, or even you could get another skill feat with that. I mean, there's so many other like little options that might be an easy thing to do. If we look at the half elf, let's look at some of the half elf feats.
All right. And you're right now looking in the archives of Nethys?
Nethys, yeah. It's much easier. But some of the stuff you can do, like I said, you can just take another general feat. There's an elf feat called Nimble Elf. You can make yourself a little bit faster. That's something you want to do, which is the same as a general feat, honestly. There is some like water-related ones, I believe. It's kind of more like where you're from, where your character's from.
Well, that's interesting, considering I've got that water vibe going. So,
you have to be at least 100 for that.
All right, let's just give me a couple of suggestions, so to keep the air from getting too dead.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, getting a general feat is always good. There's a cool option that you have is that because you're a spontaneous charisma caster,
yes,
innate spells are amazing for you, and you could actually pick up. There's one called Arcane Tattoos, where you can get a tattoo, and pick up something that you normally wouldn't get. Now, one of those that is kind of good is called Shield.
Oh, nice.
which you don't have access to as a primal. It's primal. It's everyone else has it except for primal. So shield basically will give you a +1 AC. So if you ever have like an extra action, you can always spend an action to give yourself a +1 AC. And then you can even absorb a hit with your reaction. Now you already have the rogue thing, so you kind of have to decide like, oh, I'm definitely going to get hit with it or not. But at the very least, it will kind of give you a +1 AC. So that's kind of a cool option that you might want to take.
And what was that called? That was called...
It's an arcane tattoo.
Arcane tattoo.
It's basically like you're technically supposed to be Varisian ethnicity or New Thassalon nationality, but you can kind of, just say you have it. One of the other things that you can do is, like I said, just get a general feat. But, there's a lot of good general feats out there, so...
oh, boy.
Yeah.
A lot of good general feats. Well, what would you recommend? Again, instead of me going and reading all these while we're recording.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, shield. I think shield is always really good. Also, if you want to make yourself again a little bit more a little bit more robust, toughness is a good general feat. Also, any of the ones that give you more speed, like whenever you need to move, like 5 feet can really make a difference between having to spend another action. So I think any of those you can really good. So I would think either doing the tattoo and getting maybe like the shield cantrip. I think.
Let's go with the speed.
Getting toughness or getting speed.
I think
cool.
Speed. Being able to be a little more mobile, I think would be good. So we've been playing.
Cool.
We've been bumping a little toughness. We've been, bumping some of the, skills. How about something to get us a little bit? I'm thinking more being able to step a little further than others out of the fray. So if I decide to. But okay, let's go with that.
So we're gonna use the ancestry one because later on you could always pick up the general feat again and it would stack. And it gives you, I believe the Nimble Elf gives you +5 speed. Let me check, though.
Okay.
Nimble Elf. Ancestries. Elf feats. Nimble Elf, yeah, 5 feet. So now you have a 30-foot speed.
And if I was one of those cool editors, I'd be doing those chop cuts right in here, but I'm not going to.
But no. Okay. So that was your ancestry feat. Now, magical fortitude. Basically, that means that you just get your fortitude save now goes to expert. So that's going to make you even a little bit more better with your fortitude saves. So that's the kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about is that like you'll get increases to that stuff as you level up certain levels.
Right. Okay.
And then the last thing with 5th is just another skill increase.
Oh, another skill increase. Okay.
Now you can't increase anything to master yet. That is at 7th level. So you can basically get another skill to trained, or you can pick up, you can increase another one of your skills to expert. So, if
well, I can increase one to expert, right? So.
Yes.
Why not something like Intimidate, or what's another good skill that I have right now? Stealth. Maybe Stealth would be good too.
Society. You were also kind of.
Oh, Society. There we go. Yeah. Let's go with.
You kind of wanted to be good about like knowing about settlements and cities, right?
Yeah.
And that'll kind of help you offset your lower intelligence.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah, I forgot it was kind of one of those things that I was interested in. Yep.
Well, there you go.
Beautiful.
Society now. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And there we go. That's all of the non-spell related stuff.
All right. Well, that was good. So we got through that. Now the spells are going to be the tough one, but let's be honest. Spells are going to be a personal choice in general. So
yeah.
So that's. So let's go and take a look at those.
So let's just do this. Yeah. So right now we'll start kind of at the beginning. You'll get another level 1 spell. There's a. Now, you're a spontaneous caster, which means that whenever you take a spell, you can only use it at the level that you take it. Where, like, a prepared caster just needs to learn a spell, and they can kind of prepare it in any of those levels. Say if you learn, like, you're learning Heal at level 1, means you can only use it as a level 1 spell. You'll have to take it again for one of your level 2 picks later on. But there's another thing that you get, which is called signature spells, which we'll deal with in a second. But because I was going to recommend like Longstrider, which actually gives you more speed, but it only lasts an hour. But at second level, it lasts 8 hours, which is actually a really cool one for you to have. Because that will just give you another 10-foot speed. You'll just be super fast, right?
And in this game, speed is a great asset to have.
It is. I mean, again, you're not a martial character, so it's not as a big of a deal, but you still want to get in range. I found when I was playing my spellcaster, it was often annoying to have to use, more than one action to kind of move into range. So having speed is really good. But as far as your first level spells, I'll just throw out some good options I find. You already have a good one, some good spells. Jump, I actually really like. It's for level 1. It's only it's just one action, and you get a 30-foot jump. So that can kind of help you jump onto a platform or get over something. It's kind of a good use of a first level spell, I found.
It's a good utility kind of spell. Yep.
Things that I also think that are good for you are ventriloquism, and that would actually work really well with your deception, because you can actually make your voice for 10 minutes anywhere within 60 feet. You can kind of make your voice. So you can kind of be more tricksy with that, right? So it's a really cool... Primal doesn't get a lot of illusion spells, and this is kind of one of your only illusion spells. So you might want to pick this up just because you can maybe pretend somebody is talking somewhere, and then, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's a really cool spell to kind of go along with your deception.
I like that. That's a good...
Okay.
That's a really good complementary feature there. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's just do that. So cool thing, we're using an account that has all the books, so it'll be really easy to add these spells in.
Nice.
Ventriloquism. Cool. So I'm just going to write down... Oh, they already upgraded all the cantrips. Now we're going to have to upgrade all of the damage, but I'll do that later. So all of your cantrips, every time you go up to a new spell level, will get more damage, but that's something that we'll have to deal with later. You're also getting new spell slots. So that's your second level. So let's do your third level spells. So immediately you'll get 3 cantrips. Now you're forced, because of your bloodline, you have to take... let me actually go to the... If we look at the Sorcerer has to take certain spells at different spell levels. So one of your spells, being a primal spellcaster, is... Here we go, elemental, is resist energy, which is kind of a cool spell anyways. It gives you, basically, it gives you resistance against a certain type of elemental damage.
So that's important. Because of the bloodline I have, I am required to take that particular spell at that level.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every spell level you have to take it. So we're just going to pop this in. Cool. So now you have 2 options for other spells. So let's take a look at... Now, actually, I think this is a really good time to talk about, because you're a spontaneous caster, signature spells. So, as I said before, heal at first level, you can only cast it at first level, right? But if you actually look at the spell heal, it has heightened effects, which means that, and everyone, sometimes it's sometimes they'll have specific levels, like level 1, level 5, level 7. Sometimes it'll be like every other level, but for heal, it's just every single spell level, it gets better. For heal, it's going to be every single spell level, it's going to have more healing, right?
Right.
Same thing with your Burning Hands spell. If you heighten it, it's going to get more damage. So, it's up to you how you want to okay, sorry, I got a little confused. So a signature spell, what allows you to do is that every time you get to a new spell level, you can set one of your spells as a signature spell. What that allows you to do is that it gives you the spell at that level, and then it gives you a spell at every single other possible heightened level it can be. So you never have to take that spell again.
Okay.
So basically, you could make one of your level 1, like Heal or Burning Hands, a signature spell. And that would give you, every time when you got to level 2 spells, that would give you at level 2. When you got to level 3, it would give it to you at level 3. Alternatively, you could also take a well, sorry. Because you also get a second level signature spell. You get one at first and second level, which you might like. You might take a second level spell right now and make it signature, but you wouldn't reap the benefits till later. Or you could take something like, Longstrider, and at second level you'd also get it at level 1. So it would kind of give it to you like before. I don't know if that was too confusing.
That was actually. I've got our faces on camera, and I definitely got the confused look going.
Okay.
So signature spells.
Yeah.
Kind of get rid of that restriction of having to take it over and over again.
Yes.
You kind of lost me when you said, well, then if you take a second level signature spell, you don't really get any benefit out of it until later. But you still gotta designate something, right? So
yeah. Well, what I meant is so right now you can take a signature spell. You get a first level signature spell and you get a second level signature spell right now, and you kind of have to choose which ones they are. If for a second level signature spell, it means one of your second level spells you're making a signature.
Right.
Now that can either be a second level spell, or it could be a level 1 spell that you just took it as a heightened, if that makes sense. So remember what I said is
so
like,
we're taking. So we got to take it again, but then we can make it a signature spell, and then we wouldn't have to at later levels do that.
Yes, and even beyond that, I was saying is that like right now, say you want Longstrider, right, at second level, you can just take Longstrider as a second level spell.
Right.
And that's just not even talking about signature spells. You can just take Longstrider as a second level spell, and that would kind of. And what I meant to say is that like at a higher level, you can always take a lower level spell at that level as a signature spell and get all the other lower level benefits too. Like you can cast them at lower levels too.
Okay, so if I've got 4th level, I decide to make Longstrider a signature spell, it'll work all the way.
You would get it at level 3, level 2, level 1 if you were able. But I mean, Longstrider only has, so it's not the best example. But yeah,
bad example,
but
conceptually that's what you're talking about. So
conceptually, that's what I meant.
All right.
So there's a couple options here. Now, I think the main ones that you're probably looking at are probably Heal or Burning Hands, right? As far as one of your first level ones, signature. Now, Burning Hands you had to take, right? But here's an interesting option that you have. If you say there wasn't a lot of second level spells that you liked, you could actually now retrain Heal and take a different first level spell, and now take Heal as a second level and make it your second level signature spell. So then you would also then still get it at level 1, if that makes sense.
So I can swap it out, even though I've already chosen it?
Yeah, you can always swap one spell out, and then you can choose it again. So that would basically, right now, would give you both Burning Hands and Heal as signature spells, and you could cast them both at first or second level.
That makes a lot of sense.
That way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that direction. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So what that's going to mean is that you're going to have to take another level 1 spell. So let's actually. So now, how I usually do it when I did mine is that we're calling it Splash Hands because
because of the water.
It's water. Now, for me, when I made just to keep good track, I put an S before the spell that is like, it's a signature spell. So Splash Hands is a signature spell that you got at first level.
Okay.
But now that we're taking Heal at second level and making it a signature spell, I put, whenever it's like a spell that you got for free as a signature spell, I put the S on the end, if that makes sense. And you don't have to do it this way, but you see how I did it. It just kind of makes sense for me to do it that way, to like keep track of, oh, this is when I took this spell or not,
But now don't I have to mark Heal as second level? Yeah, okay, that's what
I do.
doing.
I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
So, and then I'll actually put here again. I'll put the S in front to denote that's when you took Heal, right?
Okay.
As a signature spell, and okay, so we'll actually give you Burning Hands. And unfortunately, with this, they don't have it like in the 5e sheets in Roll20 where you can just automatically have heightened spells. You kind of have to take it
okay
at each one, and then so I'll do it like this, and then later on, like before you play the game, I'll make all the damage correct. So we got rid of your Heal. So you actually you have an option of basically taking you need you have one first level spell pick and one second level spell pick. So let's take a quick look back at the first level spells.
All right.
Again, some of my things before were like, I really like Jump just because it's like an extra utility. Pest form is kind of a cool one. You could turn yourself into like a little insect, so it's kind of good for exploration.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Do you want that one? You want?
Yeah, let's go with that. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Okay, so you'll have it's pest form, and it's not good for shape changing for like battle. It's really good for like sneaky exploration.
Yeah, being able to get into small
Yeah.
kind of areas and nose around.
And I'm gonna move it to there. Cool.
All right.
And then you get another second level spell. Now this is a call out that I just want to throw that Longstrider at level 2 is such a good spell, and basically it would be you in the morning just saying I'm casting Longstrider, and for 8 hours you just have another 10 feet bonus to your speed.
That is pretty. That's pretty nice. Yeah.
A personal favorite of mine. You don't have to go that way, but I just like it. It's so good. Alternatively, in game you could actually get a wand, a level 2 Longstrider wand, and that would just give you the same thing. But that's just my little. That's an Eric tip.
Eric tip. So
Yeah. Yeah. So we can just take it right now as a spell, or you can try to get it as a wand.
Let's take it as a spell.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take it.
So I'm just gonna put Longstrider. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
And that's your second level spell. Cool. So that's you have your first 3 spells there. Resist Energy, Burning Hand, Resist Energy, Heal, and Longstrider at level 2. And let's move on to your 4th level, which you actually get another second level spell.
Yep.
So let's take a quick look at all your primal abilities. What are some cool ones? So there is, if you want to stay more in the shape change, you could do like animal form. There's Acid Arrow if you wanted to have kind of like a more of a single target damage. That was a kind of a different damage type than your other damage ones. There's like there's one where here's a cool one where you can take a shape of any humanoid. There's one where you can make like a phantom steed, like a mount. There's just a lot of cool.
Let's go with the. Again, I'm totally leaning into the whole deception side of things. Let's be able to shape change into a humanoid.
Cool. Yeah, so this is definitely more about, it won't give you, like, you can't go as a specific type, like a specific guy.
Oh, yeah.
But this will enable you to quickly turn into a generic member of an ancestry.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. We'll just go with that.
All right, awesome.
A humanoid form. Sweet. Okay. Now moving on to 5th level spells. Wow. Your 5th level, which is 3rd level spells.
Fireball.
You get Fireball. Yeah. For you, is more of like a water ball.
Splash Mountain.
Yeah. So we'll call it that if that's what you want. Splash Mountain.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Splash Mountain. And now, again, I'll fix all your damage, but you actually do bludgeoning instead of fire. And because of your cool feat that you took in your level 1, you get +3 to all your damage with this, which is pretty cool. Now, basically, now that you have fireballs and you have splash hands, burning hands, the cool thing about it kind of gives you flexibility. They kind of do the same damage at 3rd level, but it still gives you flexibility of like, a cone versus like a burst template. Right?
Exactly.
Like a burst.
Exactly.
So it kind of gives you that flexibility. Now you also have heal as a 3rd level spell because you took it as a signature spell.
Nice.
So let's just get that in right now. 3. And then why don't you take a look at some of the other... You get 2 more 3rd level spells. Will I add these in? Okay, so I added those in. And cool, yeah, so primal 3rd level spells. And again, when you're looking at these, it's always good to kind of look... like, oh, there's these spells, but then, oh, there's also like old spells that are kind of good heightened. One of kind of the best lower level debuffs, I think, in the game is actually Fear at level 3, because it allows you to do it at 4 other people at once. Not saying that you should take this necessarily.
So what is the you mentioned before that Fear had some great mechanical advantages in the game. So can you maybe just give a little overview of that?
So there's Pathfinder 2e has a ton of conditions, but some of the kind of main the best, the conditions that do kind of the best are Frightened and Sickened. Frightened basically gives a -1 to everything, to every roll and every saving throw, and that's including AC. So Frightened is just like a really good debuff. Now there's a lot of creatures that are kind of immune to Frightened or get rid of Frightened easier. So Sickened is probably better, but Frightened is a good one, just to always do. But let's look at Pillar of Water. That's a new one.
Pillar of Water.
So
I don't see that on my.
There's some wall spells if you kind of wanted some of that stuff.
Right. There's Wall of Thorns, Wall of Wind.
There's a cool one called Mad Monkeys, which was just in the APG, where you create a ton of crazy monkeys that just do a bunch of different stuff. It's actually a really fun spell.
Kind of wreak havoc around everything.
Yeah, like you kind of think of like Jumanji. Like they can do a bunch of stuff, which is what's cool about it.
Okay, so I've just got the core book open, so obviously I don't have all of those listed.
I'm looking at Nethies.
Yeah.
So there's also some good ones because you're kind of water based, but you don't have any water breathing yet or anything. There is some lower level ones, like there is a water breathing spell, and it's a 2nd level spell, but you could actually make it 3rd level and it will be 8 hours, and it targets 5 creatures. So that might be a good one, utility one, just to like work with your concept, right? Is to have a water breathing spell that lasts all day.
I think that's again, for the one shot, I'm not sure it's going to have a lot of water in it, but we're not making this for the one shot. We're making it in general, and I think from a concept standpoint, that makes a lot of sense to have something like that. Yep.
So we'll throw in water breathing. And again, this is a 2nd level spell, but you're taking it as a 3rd level spell. So you can only cast it at 3rd level. Now, you could make this a signature spell and get it at a 2nd level one too. But, you probably, if you were doing this as a real character, you'd probably make Fireball as your 3rd level spell. Spell, right?
That would be my first choice, yeah.
Yeah. But for right now, the cool thing is that you could, even if you were doing this for a more permanent character, you could always, set water breathing that way, and then when you leveled up next time, you can change signature spells when you're leveling up, I believe. Actually, wait, don't quote me on that, but we still have one more, so
what do we got here? Would it be good to have one of the wall spells?
Walls are definitely fun. Like I said, Mad Monkeys is a really cool spell.
Okay. Read what it does, because I don't have it listed here. So you're getting me excited about it. So
it's a 5-foot burst, so it's only a 5-foot
so it's in one
circle.
square basically, or
no, it's a burst. So it's like a it's not just one square. It's like everything with a radius of 5 feet.
Okay.
Is that the right word? Yeah. Okay, so basically when you cast it, there's 4 different options for the type of mischief, and you can sustain it for up to a minute, and when you sustain it, you can actually move the monkeys by 5 feet, so you can kind of move them around. The monkeys can steal any one item from a creature. They can screech loudly, deafening things in the area. They can jump and climb over creatures, basically trying to it basically makes it harder for them to do manipulate actions. Manipulate's an action, a trait that goes along with like drawing weapons. It's also for most spells have a manipulate action.
Right.
So you're kind of messing with that. It's just kind of a fun spell, but again, it might be a little too much.
Wacky. A little too wacky.
A little too much for you to get over.
Yeah.
I guess it's like what. Yeah, a wall is always good, right? There's clouds. Searing Light, which will do fire. It also does good damage against fiends and undeads. So good damage. So it does a ton of damage against fiends and undead.
Okay.
which might be like, you have other damage, but this would be like a lot of damage against these specific creatures. So that's just if that's something that kind of now you can always use heal also against undead, by the way.
Right. Exactly. Well, what about? So let's go with.
You can also There's also something called Aqueous Orb, which is the water spell, and I believe it like collects creatures they engulfed in water. So you can like grab them.
That's out of the other book
them.
too. That's out of the other book too, right?
Yeah, that's out of the APG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up to you, man.
Well, let's go with a wall.
Either there's Wall of Thorns and Wall of Wind.
One hinders
Wall of Thorns
movement.
is going to be a more physical wall that actually impedes movement. And Wall of Wind is it helps you with like range attacks get through and stuff like that.
Let's go with the Wall of Thorns conceptually.
Okay.
I'm not sure we can... Yeah, we can play that. Okay, sure.
Cool.
Okay, so let me bring up the sheet so that you can see it. So we've got it. We're going to make signature for this one's going to be our Splash Mountain.
Fireball,
yeah. Splash Mountain. And then... we've got a good list of spells. Now, that's a lot of spells for me to have to read up on and remember what they do.
But they're all in the sheet, at least.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. You have a good mix of like damage and utility and some like tricky spells. So you got like Charm, Ventriloquism, Pest Form, and Humanoid Form in there to kind of mess with stuff. So
yeah. I'm not just walking... Death Machine. I got some good stuff there. So,
but that is your best thing that you do is just
destroy
damage
stuff
in large areas.
Yeah. Hey, okay, so what did we learn? We learned kind of all the different steps of leveling up. I think this went pretty well because you did a good job of explaining. Okay, we hit 2. We got to make these choices. And go through, and I think that made a lot of sense. I think that's a pretty good, pretty good recipe for all the other classes too, right? With that similar, yeah.
I mean, they all have their things. Like rogues and investigators get more skill feats, and some of them get the swashbucklers get like extra skill feats, but they're specific to certain skills. So all the classes have their own thing. And generally, like, if you're not a spellcasting class, you're going to be getting kind of more extra stuff. But yeah, this was definitely, most of the stuff we covered for sure.
Yeah, and you did a great job. Thank you. It really made sense. A couple of areas I was kind of had a blank stare, but you walked me through it, so I think it all makes sense. A lot of customization, a lot of choices.
Yes.
So. If you're doing this for real, you'll have hopefully a lot more time than the 40 minutes or whatever we're going through it. So
yeah, and like to me, that's why I like the system so much is that customization. But I like that it's not like while there is a lot of options, the options themselves when you're actually doing it by level, like it's not like they're so complicated, right? Like a skill feats are pretty straightforward when you have to like look at them. There's just a lot of stuff to look through, but they're not like so crazy like, well, how does this work or whatever. So that's kind of why I like it.
Yeah,
a lot.
Nice. All right, well, that is Pathfinder, leveling up your character. I'll use this character in the game that's coming up. I'm guessing there'll be a way to maybe link it in to the post whatever when it's done, I'm assuming, but
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So I don't know if there's much else to say. You got any last thoughts there, Eric?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, like I said, there's so many options that we did what we could here, but yeah, I hope that helped.
Yeah, I think it helped. Well, it helped me, and so it's my video channel, and so if it helps me,
at the very least, it helps one person.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all that matters.
We can help just one person. That's all that matters. So, all right. Well, this is Carl with
Eric,
as always, and this is Carl learning Pathfinder and Tabletop Tango. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you.